The Podcasting Dead is available on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and SoundCloud. Make sure to subscribe for more podcasts. And while you're at it, drop us a like. If you want to help support the channel and have access to extra content, secret contest, and more, make sure to search for us on Patreon. Patreon.com/ThePodcastingDead.
All right, time to once again look at the flowers. I'm Justin.
Yeah, I'm JP.
And I say once again because we do live streams immediately after the episode. So if you haven't had a chance, check that out. We discussed it, answered questions, and it's kind of more of like a first impressions immediately after the episode, whereas this is where we've had a night and a little time to kind of think on and digest what we've seen.
Yeah, man, I'm not going to lie, I was pissed off at a lot of characters throughout the show, but man...
Who was your main one? Where was the main focus of your frustration?
Gotta be Carol. Come on. Gotta be Carol. There were moments where I was pretty pissed at Negan, but nonetheless, dude, there were certain scenes this episode that I'll put in like my top 10 of just like best Walking Dead scenes throughout the entire series.
Right.
And we'll get into that as we dissect the episode.
So I'm assuming your frustration with Negan would be what we were talking about last night, the whole... when Carol's like, I'm not going back. Okay, well, then just grab the damn head off the pike and walk to Alexandria and say, hey, I did this. Can you hook me up?
Yeah, once she just wandered into the forest, I would have grabbed that head, and that would have been my my golden ticket, baby. But
it's definitely a lot different than the comics. Because, in the comics, he that kid got him out. And then,
right.
And I like how they have tied in things to make us, to kind of keep it along the lines of the comics, but do it differently. But it's so much different in the comics, and that is pretty much what happened in the comics. Was he went and got the head and took it and put it on Rick's desk and was like, here you go. Still think I'm a bad guy?
Yeah, dude. And I guess in a way that's almost a testament to what a badass Carol is. Maybe he was just like, I could grab the head, but then, Carol might like blow me up with a bazooka or something like she did at Terminus or what.
Right,
she didn't have a bazooka, but it was like she did.
Yeah, she shot that tank with a firework.
Yeah, he's like, probably just shouldn't F with Carol, so I'll just leave it there, grab the mask, and hope things work out for the best.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of, like I said, Carol's been kind of, she's, I don't know, here lately, this Carol I've not been as fond of as I have past Carols.
Yeah, man, and just, I get that everyone's got their breaking point, but it's just like, I mean, she's lost everything, and she's got, she's just built herself back up, gotten better, and I don't know.
Yeah, Carol kind of has a new breaking point every season, though. I mean, during the whole, introduction of Negan saga, it was, I don't want to kill people anymore, and then she was fine with it, and then, it's, I don't know. I like Carol. I do. She's been making stupid decisions here recently.
Yeah, man, there were a lot of stupid decisions to go around this episode, that's for sure. For one thing, if you're in a rickety old shack, don't be trying to grab stuff out of the loft, up above.
While your imaginary friend yells at you.
Right. Did we ever figure out what she was trying to pull down?
I thawt she was trying to get a kayak down or a canoe or something.
I haven't rewatched yet, so I'm not sure, but... Yeah, definitely, be aware of anything structural integrity when it's been sitting out in the woods.
Yes. Yes, please do that. Yeah. But it was really cool to get to know Beta a little bit more.
Yeah, that was another awesome scene, man. Just him up in that balcony or looking out the window with his track playing and his last big concert, I guess. All those walkers just surrounding that building. That was pretty cool.
So it's like we know he was a country star. Someone had put that he was in rehab when Alpha found him, and that's why he was so easy to manipulate. Like he had been in rehab when the world went to crap, and then he just kind of stayed there and never really got the help that he needed, and just was very vulnerable, which is why Alpha was so easily able to manipulate him and get him to basically just do whatever she wanted.
That makes sense, man. It'd be great if they did a flashback and show him with the blue meth,
Oh yeah,
that's a cool little Easter egg. We haven't seen any blue meth since season 1?
Yeah, no, season 2. It was when when T-Dog was hurt and Daryl was going through his bag and Merle's stuff on his motorcycle.
Right.
Merle,
yeah.
Merle and Dwight.
Yeah.
But no, it was really cool to get to know Beta more. I'd imagine Lydia having to see Beta wearing half of her mom's face.
Yeah, dude,
I thought that was awesome. So symbolic and so dope to have him come out of the saloon wearing half of Alpha's face.
And I was thinking about it, man. Like, I mean, that's relatively fresh skin. I don't think he had a sewing kit. He probably just cut that piece of skin off and just stuck it to his face.
Oh, yeah, just blood and everything sticking it.
Because, like, before, I was like, man, I bet that'd be a bitch to, like, sew that on to, like, skin that's so much older or whatever. But I was just like, nah, I think he just slapped it on there. I guess he'll kind of sew it on once he gets back to camp. But
well, and they have to dry out the skins, too,
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going back to camp. I think he's just going straight to war.
Just going straight to war. Yeah, he's got his, he's kind of read up on his walker horde. So
I think we maybe are going to get to see the Negan Beta brawl.
Yeah, dude. God, I hope so. That's something that just needs to happen.
Oh, absolutely. And I think it will. Sadly, it's probably... Do you think they're going to... With only 2 episodes left, do you think they're going to actually wrap up the Whisperer War this season?
I think so, man. I think so.
Because it could go one or two ways,
Yeah. Maybe that's a big reason why they're pushing back the season finales, because they know they want to wrap this up in an epic fashion, and unless it's, like, perfect, they're not going to put it out. That's my hope, anyway.
That would have to be a lot of... It's kind of sad, though. It's like I'm bravo for not dragging it out longer than it needs to be drug out, but also if that means, we're losing Beta and Alpha, very sad to be losing them.
Yeah, man, I would like to see Beta stick around. Like, he's like a looming threat, you know what I'm saying? Like, who knows where he is, what he's up to.
That'd be an interesting departure from the comics,
be.
Actually have the Whisperer War end, but him to go off for a while, kind of like the Governor did.
Right.
And just kind of be someone you can bring back later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude, you probably find some more of that China White. He'd just go back to normal, Probably still, just, all messed up from not being high.
Right. He just get one sniff and go, the fuck am I wearing?
Yeah.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Whose dead face is on my face? Get this.
Ooh-wee.
Y'all done let me do this for the last few years.
I'm telling you, though, man, I hope, I don't know if it would be like a DVD extra egg or Easter egg.
An extra egg.
Yeah, an extra egg. Well, I have one egg.
You get a DVD and there's like extra eggs.
But, dude, I'd like to hear some of those, whatever I'd like to hear some of those country tracks.
I would, too. I wonder if they, I'm sure they did. I'd say it'd be interesting to hear Ryan Hurst actually sing them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude. I mean, it wasn't bad stuff,
Not from what I could hear. And the walkers seemed to like it. They were all but mosh pitting out in front of the saloon.
I thought he was going to body surf right out the door.
When he went into the saloon at first, man, because I really, really thought for a bit that it was going to be the town they were in Fear the Walking Dead. Because we saw the axe through the zombie's head. Remember, Dwight had the axe and all of that.
Man. I didn't even think about that.
And then they found the note. I really thought that was going to be a note from like Sherry to Dwight or Dwight to Sherry. I don't know. I just thought it was doing which I don't think the times sync up. I think the Walking Dead's way further in the timeline than the Fear of the Walking Dead is. So no, then that would work because all of that would have been old and a long time ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
Dwight would have axed a zombie and that axe would have been there for a few years and the note would have been there for a few years. So yeah, actually that would have worked. It just wouldn't, the timelines wouldn't line up to where they'd run into each other.
Yeah, that's true.
But I don't think that's what it was, but...
Yeah, the Walking Dead timeline right now is a timey-wimey kind of thing.
It really is.
I really can't, in my mind, figure out what's what. But
I need one of those people that has time to sit down and do like a timeline explained video.
Right. I need like a visual aid. That's really what I need.
I think you can find that, actually. I'm pretty sure there is one on YouTube, a pretty well put together, like Walking Dead timeline that tells you how long it's been from the start of the outbreak to present.
Yeah, I've seen like timelines just with the main shows saying, what happened, how many days they are into the zombie apocalypse, but
yeah,
just with these new shows coming out, man, it's a lot more to
and from what we heard from some listeners last night, it seems all shows have been pushed back. This shit sucks. The coronavirus needs to go on somewhere.
We were so stoked. We're like, man, there's going to be literally just endless Walking Dead for the foreseeable future.
And I'm okay with that.
Not exactly true, but I guess when you've got a cast that big, you got the walkers, you got to,
Well, and then we were just looking at a live stream from the premiere, and it's like, back when the world was innocent and In our eyes, we were fairly coronavirus free.
Yeah, it was on the other side of the world. We were like, no way it's going to make its way over here. And,
right.
Yeah.
And it all started with a bat.
Yeah,
It
so they
started
say.
out with a bat. How
So
did
they
it
say.
end up like that? Yeah, they do say. I've heard it. I don't know if that's confirmed. I've seen a lot of memes going around about bats. I watched an interesting video on the Infographics channel on YouTube where they were showing it, but it was like you got the coronavirus by giving a snake mouth to mouth or something over in Wuhan.
It's one of those weird things. Like there is a lot more evidence kind of advocating that it's man-made. That's not confirmed. We're not trying to get into a conspiracy theory kick, but a lot of people with a lot of opinions on it right now. But anyway,
I just think that if self-righteousness is a symptom of the coronavirus, everyone on my Facebook is in trouble.
Yeah.
It's like, just shut up and quarantine yourself. Stop preaching every day. I don't know, man. I got a lot of people on my Facebook that it's everything I can do not to be like, oh my God, shut up.
Yeah. For real.
You're on here bitching at people about this when I can name about 50 other ways you contribute to the downfall of humanity. So shut your mouth, close your doors, and just quarantine and be quiet.
Now, a lot of those people, man, aren't even like adhering to the
No,
protocol,
they're not.
You know what I'm saying?
They're doing the same, and it just, oh my gosh, man. I mean, it's okay to share information and things like that, but you just got people on there preaching and anyways, back to The Walking Dead. But yeah, I really thought we were going to have Judith or someone make a reference of Michonne being where she was, like maybe Daryl would say, until your mom gets back, we got to blah blah blah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I didn't even think about it. With so much going on, I forgot. Yeah, Judith hadn't broke the news. Hey, Michonne's going off to find the brave man.
Yeah, and I'm just curious if how they're going to. I feel like they're definitely going to bring that up. They're going to say it.
It's got to, yeah.
But I'm just anxious for. Man, it sucks. Next Sunday's the last Walking Dead episode we're going to get for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, at least the other one was 2, but at least it was a finale. It was probably going to be badass.
Yep.
I need more Walking Dead. Can we all just pitch in to help produce the show?
Yeah. Yeah, man. Jeffrey Dean Morgan, man, he was looking good on the Talking Dead. What few glances I got, he's holed up at his farm wherever it is.
I want a farm, man.
A farm would be nice right about now.
I want a farm. As I've gotten older, it's so bizarre how, in my 20s, I mean, I've always been a country guy. We live in Virginia. We live out in the country of Virginia. So, I mean, we've all got country in our blood. But, for a while there, I wanted to get out and do other things. And, I mean, if you would have asked me in my early to mid-20s, I'd have told you I want to move to New York City and just experience that. And it's so funny how now you get older and I'm like, no, I grew up. I didn't live on a farm, but our family had a farm, so it's like I've grown up on country roads and farms and open spaces and woods. And as I've gotten older now, I'm like, I would like a little farm, nothing extravagant, nothing I plan to make a living off of, but just have a few goats, maybe a few pigs, some chickens, maybe a cow or two. Yeah. Definitely got to get a donkey just because donkeys are assholes and it'd be so fun to have one. But just have a little farm and just have a dirt road I can walk with my daughter and it's peaceful and yada, yada, yada. So I definitely am a little envious of Jeffrey Dean Morgan there.
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure.
He's done such a good job with Daryl Negan, man. He's really shown some versatility, like how even in this episode, how he turned on the old Negan when he needed to.
Oh, dude, that was so great. That's one of my favorite scenes, throughout the entire series, bar none.
It just almost shows you how some of the shit he says when he's in leader Negan status, even he knows it's bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like when he's, how he levels with Alpha and he levels with Daryl and has real conversations without the stupid puns, I guess you could say. Just the things that he says. I don't know if puns is a good term to use, but when he's like, it's like I had my own child, only my child is. And, but then you can see him do that, and then you can see him go back to being human with Daryl. And I like when he told Daryl, I wasn't lying. I did like that, I felt like I belonged, I mattered after being locked up for 7 years.
Yeah, man. And thinking back on it, I think, Daryl really was leaning hardcore that Negan was going to save him because, I mean, he got on his knees a lot easier than I think he would have if he thought he was really getting ready to get shot down,
I don't know, man.
Put him down.
Part of me thinks that Daryl really thought he was just screwed. Because, you got to think about it from Daryl. And you could absolutely be right. Daryl might have counted on that. But you got to consider from Daryl's point of view, this is a guy that you've been in charge of being locked up for 7 years. You went to war with this guy. For all you know, he's full of shit about the whole alpha thing. He's escaped his imprisonment, and now he's got people with weapons supporting him. I mean, the easiest thing for him to do would be just to kill you and go off. And you know that Negan is almost a cult leader himself. He's able to get people to mindlessly follow. And now he's got people that he ain't even had to manipulate mindlessly following him.
Yeah.
So, from Daryl's perspective, I feel like at least a part of him definitely was like, yeah, I'm done. I mean, this is how it ends.
I'm sure his butthole was definitely really, really tight at that point. I mean, he was just pointing a crossbow at this dude. Now he had him dead to rights.
Oh, yeah.
And speaking of being programmed, man, these freaking whispers must be programmed hardcore to let Beta just smush your face and rip part of your cheek off. And
then you follow him.
Yeah, then you're still doing his bitch
just
work.
Going through town with him, I'm telling you, he's a big boy. And Ryan Hurst, he's a big old fella. I think he's like 6'4". I mean, he's a stout guy, but I can tell you what, that stout guy's gonna catch my regular sized foot right to his nads. He tries to put my face to a zombie,
Yeah, man. I really thought when that dude, before he died, when he took the knife and was going to stick the walker, I thought he was going for Beta at first.
Which would have been the smart thing.
Yeah,
on his
you're
part.
dead already. You're the Walking Dead for real.
So, yeah. Yeah, I thought you're right. I definitely am like, what the hell? And then, like I said, Beta just grabs him and puts his face to it. And it's like, do you hear her? That's a terrible Beta. Do you hear her? I don't know. I feel like Beta's really hard to do. He doesn't really have any characteristics other than Ryan Hurst plays a great Beta.
Oh, yeah, dude. He's knocking it out of the park. I mean, this whole, the last couple seasons, has been really well cast. And now we've got the newest edition. We got the Princess of Pittsburgh. Yeah.
She's there, and definitely already her opening line was very much how I would have imagined hearing it when I read it in the comics. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, my God, hey!
Yeah, really good casting there.
Yeah, and Princess was a good character in the comics. She was really funny. She had her moments where I kind of was like,
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, if I had to say, do you like Princess or do you not like Princess? I mean, I like Princess, so I'm interested to see how she'll be portrayed on screen because she's got a little bit of a badass streak in herself too. I mean, she's able to whoop some serious ass. So I'm really hoping she won't get the Jesus treatment.
Yeah.
I hope they don't bring in a character who in the comics has shown she can throw down. She's a badass. Like, she's friendly and she's fun and she's silly, but you don't mess with her either. I mean, if you get on the wrong side, she'll put a spear in you real quick.
Yeah, dude. Like you said last night, man, I'm ready to see her be whooping some ass with that spear.
I want to see the spear. It's like her signature thing. But I just hope they don't bring her in and then just not let her be a badass the way they did Jesus. He had his moments, but come on. Compared to the comics and compared to what we know, he was nothing compared to his comic counterpart.
Yeah, dude, a real waste of potential there for sure.
Yeah, he
waste of a good character.
Yeah, and Thomas Paine, we've said it before. Tom Paine, I was not excited when I saw he was cast. Not that I have anything against the actor, but I was like, man, Jesus. I mean, he made comments on Rick being so skinny and small. Like, Jesus was a pretty stout fellow. I imagined him to be about 6 foot, maybe 6'1", and almost 200 pounds and fairly in good shape. And instead, you've cast a guy who might be 5'9", 5'10", 130 pounds.
Yeah, for real.
But he played it good. He was a believable badass, and we got a few good scenes. The Morgan fight scene was pretty epic.
Yeah, I forgot about that one. That was good stuff.
He had little moments. He beat Rick and Daryl's ass, which was his introduction was great. Mm-hmm. Started off on the right foot, but just really lost sight of that character. So anyways, long story short, coming back around to what we're talking about, I just hope they don't do that with Princess.
Yeah, me too, man. That'd be a sucker move.
And if we're seeing Princess, that means there are a lot of new characters that we're about to be introduced to.
Yeah, we're about to enter a much larger world.
Yeah, some good characters, some not so good characters. And it's something I really want to get into comic spoiler territory here. So if you don't want the comics spoiled, just go away for maybe a minute and come back. We don't want to lose you long, but I got to bring up something, which this isn't really a huge spoiler per se because both characters are no longer in The Walking Dead. But anyways, you've been warned. 3, 2, 1. The Rick Dwight scene. Dwight. I know some people are like, you say Dwight. Okay, well, excuse my country accent. Dwight. Dwight. Remember The Office? Dwight.
Yeah.
When they were doing this reading of the Michael Scarn Threat Level Midnight script. But anyways, but yeah, we had that scene in the comics, again, spoiler territory, where Dwight basically just had reached this breaking point with somebody in this community, and he was going to kill this person. And in order to restore and keep peace, Rick made the very difficult decision of, shooting Dwight in the back of the head. Even though Dwight was one of his allies, but Rick killed him in order to maintain peace. And Rick nor Dwight are even in the show. I'm wondering if that's going to still transpire and who the characters will be.
That's true, man.
What if it's Daryl and Ezekiel?
And like the huge part that Michonne has to play in that story arc, who's going to fill those shoes,
Yeah.
There's that. Yeah, they're going to have to really. Which, I mean, we still have a lawyer in the cast, Yumika, right?
Yeah, and you know what? I think someone's brought that up. I think someone has said before in our comments section that Yumiko is probably going to take that role that Michonne had, which is like, unless they're going, I really need some confirmation. Like, if they're going to continue this show past the comic writing, then that's cool. But if they're going to end it in the way that the comic did, they could really end it in a season or two. And if that's the case, I really just wish Michonne would have stuck it out but I mean, then again, a lot of her moments that, but I don't know. You know what? I'm going to take that back. Yumiko can do it. That's fine. Because a lot of her cool moments are with Carl grown up in the comic at the end. Like that whole story arc at the end, the last issue with Michonne and Carl is just so touching and it's so awesome. And without the magic of having Denai Guerrero on screen and not having Chandler Riggs and whether you loved one of the two or both of them or you didn't, you got to admit they had some chemistry on screen. Like Chandler Riggs and Denai Guerrero definitely had that motherly son. They did a good job together. So without seeing that on screen, I really don't, if Michonne's not the lawyer, who cares? Or the judge.
Yeah, man. You speak about going beyond the comics. You think if they hadn't have drawn out certain storylines and had so many filler episodes, they could have done everything in the comics in 10 seasons.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, just wrapped up the whole Walking Dead,
There was just so much that was drug out, and I think it's because they thought they had so much time. I mean, like I said, the all-out wars really would mess them up. So for new listeners, you're going to probably be like, yeah, I agree with that. And you might say, I disagree with it and you're an idiot, shut up. But the reason I say that is because people who have been listening a long time have heard me say this and heard you say this probably 1,000 times and they're rolling their eyes. But it should have just been one season. Season 7 should have been the start and the end of All Out War. They should have ended Season 6 with them meeting Negan, with Negan killing who he was going to kill. And that is the end of the episode. Like, basically, the last episode should have been extended, and they should have had basically the season 7, episode 1 kind of thrown in there, right? Should have had the death, had the next day, and all of that, whatever. And then season 7, the first half, should have been them just taking because they divided things up. See, that's the difference in what they're doing now. You wouldn't have had a single episode of Daryl being in prison. That would have been mixed in with other stuff, and then you could have moved the story along, at a better pace, not so slow. But the first 8 episodes should have been them just being, just the savior's bitches, and then towards the end of the first half, realizing like we're not going to take this anymore, and then the second half should have been all out war, and then ended season 7 with so like by now what we're seeing now could be in like season 8 or 9.
Mm-hmm.
I'm enjoying the pacing of it now, though. I mean, I can say there hasn't been a slow moment or two, but from season 9 up, I've enjoyed the pacing.
No, man, God bless Angela King. That's all I can say.
Yeah, she's done a great job as showrunner. I know Scott Gimple still got a say in things, but I'm thinking more or less the way his role is now is he's more hands-off but still gets credit.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where maybe even AMC was like, look, we obviously can't fire him, but maybe what we can do is promote him.
Right.
And tell him he gets to oversee, but give him a more hands-off role and let Angela King do her thing, but he still gets to have that position of, overseer, whatever. Yeah. Kind of like a Kevin Feige type thing where he's not in there actually writing these movies, but he definitely gets the credit for being, a decision maker.
Yeah.
Which Kevin Feige makes some really good decisions, but still.
Yeah.
But no, I really enjoyed this episode. Like I said, at certain points it felt a little slower, but also I had a very fast-paced day
Oh, yeah.
Like I was cutting grass. I had to, I've been definitely practicing the social quarantining, but like I ran to my sister's house and had to help my brother-in-law move something. So I guess that would be breaking it a little bit. But I mean, they've been home and not been out and doing anything.
Yeah.
And I stayed more than 6 feet from him because what we were moving was like 10 feet long. So I got on one end, picked it up. He picked his end up. We moved it. I said, all right, peace.
Yeah.
Didn't even go in. But actually, I did step in for a second. But yeah, I had then I came home and cut grass, which was a huge mistake. The pollen here is ridiculous.
Dude, yeah, like you could see it almost like a fog yesterday.
Oh man, it was in my driveway. Like you could see you could see on my paved driveway, you could see my tire marks when I backed out. Like it was rough. So now I'm still, if you hear me coughing today, I promise you, I wasn't coughing before the pollen got in my lung. Before I got that pollen lung.
Oh boy.
But then so finally then I realized it was getting close to The Walking Dead, and I was like, crap, I got to take a shower. So it definitely, in hindsight, it wasn't that slow. It was a good episode. It had its moments, but it was, I think just because I was on the go all day that I was like, man, and especially coming from what we had the last time we left these characters. But I thought it was a good episode. You actually gave it a lower rating than I did. I was surprised on that.
There was like I was, annoyed with Carol. I don't really see the
logic in her thought.
Yeah, the sense in what she's doing. I was annoyed at Negan up until the scene with Daryl. The guy with that Beta fed to Alpha's head. I was just like, geez, come on, dude. That's I don't. I almost feel like even if you are brainwashed, it's almost like a knee-jerk reaction. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right. You're
gonna flinch, you're gonna kick and try to get away from this buzzsaw that your face is getting pushed into, but. Even still, all that aside, like I said, that scene with Daryl and Negan, man, like I said, that is just one of the best.
I wonder if Daryl's going to take Rick's place from the comics now, because it was Rick whose affection Negan was trying to win. Negan was basically trying to prove to Rick. I wonder if we almost got like a mix of scenes there, because let's think about it. All right, comic spoilers again, but some people don't mind because they're not going to read the comics, or you've already read, or you whatever, but. Slight comic spoilers here. This happened years ago, though, so it's not like we're spoiling something that happened very recently in the comics. I mean, this probably happened 2 years ago, if not more. Yeah. But, in the comics, we have that point where Negan is, because the Saviors are still a much bigger presence in the comics at this point than they are, whereas now they've just kind of integrated into society. They still were the Saviors. Yeah. And White was leading them. But, they have a chance where a certain community, trying to be as vague as I can, gets overrun. Mm-hmm. And Negan actually is saving a few people. And Negan gets to a point where he's in front of the Saviors. And, they basically are acting like one of them says something about, like, all hail Negan or something of that regard. And Negan's like, who wants to follow me? Yeah. Blah, 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 And then one of them kneels and Negan kind of whoops his ass. And it's like, are you an idiot? Do you remember the bullshit I put you guys through? And you're stupid enough to think that I should be in charge again?
Yeah.
I wonder if we almost kind of got that, because he kind of fell back into his character there for a bit in the comics when he was talking to the Saviors. Then luckily we found he had no desire to become the leader of the Saviors again. And I wonder if this almost wasn't kind of an incarnation of that in the show with these Whisperers.
Yeah, man, it was kind of reminiscent of that.
And, I wonder, and in the comic, he's just constantly trying to prove to Rick that he's not a bad guy, that he's been reformed, that he has no desire to go back to his old ways, which is, what Rick ultimately, I think, was hoping was, locking Negan up, that he would change over time. Mm-hmm. But so I wonder if it'll be Daryl he's trying to gain the affection of. And when I say affection, I don't mean like passionately trying to get him into the bedroom. I just mean trying to earn his trust.
Right, but who knows where that storyline could go.
What if, like, they get real close and Rick shows up and is like, Daryl, Dare Bear, what are you doing with Negan? Rick, it ain't what you think. Like, they're not sleeping together. They're sitting there having a beer, but Rick busts in, Dare Bear?
Yeah.
Rick, what the hell is he doing here? I don't know why Rick sounds like George W.H. Bush, but,
Yeah.
Fool me once.
Oh, man.
Dare Bear. I don't understand. Rick, it ain't what you think.
Yeah. Oh, good.
And then Ezekiel's like, shall we settle these matters in the bond of pleasures, gentlemen? And it's like, how did you get in my house, Ezekiel?
I think that would be the best way to settle anything.
Why were you in my closet?
Oh, man.
I was listening. We were playing Yahtzee. People get turned on by many different things.
Board games can be quite erotic.
Yahtzee.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wonder if it'll be Daryl, because I don't know. I really like how they're doing it, though. I like that they are mixing things in from the comics to keep it on that timeline and kind of keep it flowing in that general direction. But they're definitely switching it up enough to where even us comic readers, there's twists and turns for us. I mean, this whole, I don't remember. Do you remember? And maybe I'm wrong on this, and it has been a while, but I don't remember any Whisperers trying to follow Negan after he killed Alpha.
I don't.
Because in the comic, I'm pretty sure he killed Alpha. He took the head and just marched right into Rick's. I mean, they might have captured him or something, like when he got back to the community. But I mean, he took it straight to Rick himself. Yeah. And, even Rick was that's where Rick and Maggie kind of came at odds. Because, Rick's kind of like, well, I mean, I don't. He killed Alpha. I think he's reformed it. Because Maggie, I think, comes to Alexandria, right? And is like, what is he doing?
Yeah.
Out of his cell, blah, blah, blah. Speaking of Maggie, her return was rumored to be at the end of the season.
Oh, dude, yes. That means we're going to have to wait to see her again.
I feel like I'm the only one that's excited to see her come back. A lot of people, I think maybe yourself included, or maybe I'm thinking of my dad, but, people that I talk to about the show, but a lot of people I've talked to have been like, I really don't care one way or another if Maggie comes back. And I'm like, don't get me wrong, she was a douchebag at the end, but, she was racked by grief, so, it's a little bit excusable. I feel. I didn't like the whole, we're going to wait our time and then we're going to show Rick. And Daryl's like, yeah, we are. Yeah. That whole thing I thought was stupid. But Daryl also is, at that point, I didn't like Daryl. And now Daryl's turned around and become one of my favorite characters again. So I don't think that they couldn't write a good plot line for Maggie. Yeah,
dude. I think they can definitely make us love Maggie all over again.
Yeah, because, I only had a brief point where it ain't like she wanted to kill Rick. At no point, they almost made it seem that way towards the end of season 8, but that was just more in terrible writing than it was, So, I definitely think that they've clarified that she had no intention to hurt Rick. It was just a wage. When our time comes, we're going to sneak in there and we're going to kill Negan and extract revenge for Glenn and everyone, blah, 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 blah. But so I don't know, man. A lot of people hating on Maggie, and that's perfectly fine. It's your opinion, and you're entitled to it. But I actually am kind of excited to see her come back.
Yeah.
A familiar face,
Yeah, definitely not a lot of OG characters going around nowadays. So
we had a listener propose something very interesting last night, and that was, what if we had another Shane Otis situation? We're going to find out that Magna sacrificed Connie to save herself. Like she said, they were part of the Horde or whatever, and they got separated. And we know that the actress that plays Connie is all filming something else. But what if it was a situation we go back and we see where they were wandering with the dead and, I don't know, maybe she was about to be in trouble, so she's like, Connie can't hear. Mm-hmm. So, maybe she took advantage of that and somehow got Connie killed to save herself.
Dude, that'd be a pretty badass scene.
Be a nice twist. I feel like they want us to like Magna, so I don't feel like they would do that, because if they did that, there's no redeeming Magna. And if they're she survived the cave situation, I think she's in it for the long haul. And in the comics, she's there till the end. So, she's, definitely one of those characters that I think they might be trying to set up the future of the show on. So I don't know that they would have had her commit something so heinous. Like when Shane did that to Otis, which we didn't know Otis as well, I guess, compared to Connie. But, from that point on, we knew Shane had to die. Mm-hmm. Even though we love Shane, I think John Bernthal as Shane was some of my favorite moments in Walking Dead history are between Rick and Shane.
Oh yeah, it's still my favorite episode of the whole series. What was it, 22 Miles Out or whatever?
Where Rick kills him?
Well, no.
You're talking about where they fight, where they take him. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that is.
Shane stuck on the bus, and Rick makes the decision to go save him.
Because I think the one where Rick kills Shane is called Better Angels or something is the name of that episode.
That sounds right.
Or at least it's the one before, or it's the one after is at least. But I know it's right around the time when Rick kills Shane. But yeah, you're right. That's a great where they take Randall out to kill him.
Yep.
And Rick decides they're not going to do it. And then Randall had to open his fucking mouth, man. You remember that? Like everything was good. Even Shane was good with this. This even put Rick and Shane at even more odds. Yeah. Which not to say they weren't going to clash later. They just were two totally different mindsets. And it is funny, though, how Rick basically became Shane. Not in the, I'm going to bang my best friend's girl type thing, but just in his brutality, you know, like season 5, 6, Rick wouldn't have thought twice about killing Randall.
No.
You know, him and Shane would have been on the same level, and I like that they addressed that. And when Rick sees Shane as he's bleeding out, you know, Shane says, I like to take credit for some of that.
Yeah.
But, you know, Randall was laying there, and they were going to leave him. Even Shane was cool with it, and they're walking away, and he had to say, I went to school with Maggie. And you're like, and then they stop, and you're like, Randall, man, just shut the fuck up.
Yeah, man. If I was Rick, I would have just been like, look, Shane, we're going to tell everybody we left him out here, but nah, we got to kill him.
Shane, you know what? You're right. He's got to go, but those people aren't going to accept it. So here's what I'm going to do. Yeah, you get to kill him, but you keep this shit to yourself.
Yeah, let's not tell my 10-year-old son that we went out here and executed a guy.
Especially consider, I mean, it would have been a tough choice to make. It's like I said, Randall was just a kid, and yeah, he was shooting at him, but I totally understand that he was just with that group. They didn't, all they knew was that these guys in a bar killed their friends.
Right.
It's not like he was out, you know, but once Daryl heard the story of if he was that mindless of a follower to be shooting at people just because his group was, then when he told that story about them finding the guy camping with his 2 daughters and basically how they raped him right in front of him, that would tell me, okay, he probably participated in that too. Like, regardless of what, this is not a good person.
Yeah.
Even if he does seem like an innocent kid. I don't know. With the Randall thing, man, I think I would have, putting all the facts together and what he said, I mean, he definitely seemed like he was just very gullible, but I probably would have had to have put him out. Because you can honestly say if he would have met back up with him, you know, I kind of, you know, at the time I was more on Rick's side or Dale's side, but at the same time, I would have, if nothing else, I would have kept him prisoner.
Right.
I mean, I ain't saying necessarily. I'm not going to say necessarily with all of those facts what I have just said kill him, but I definitely would have been like, well, he's not, you know, we're not letting him loose.
Yeah.
But, going back and reminiscing, a lot of people hated season 2, and it's one of my favorite seasons of the entire show. It's some of the best. It's some of the moments that made me love The Walking Dead happened in season 2, and I like to say season 3.
Yeah, man. It was just still so fresh and new.
It was. I love season 1. Great season. Very well done, but season 2 and season 3 had the moments that made me fall in love with The Walking Dead.
Yep, can't argue with that.
But let us know your favorite season below for those, especially some new listeners. But yeah, with this episode, you know, I think I gave it a 4 rating. JP gave it like a 3.5 or something, or 3. You just gave it an even 3. Now, keep in mind, it's out of 5 stars, so that's not like 3 out of 10. So, I mean, that's more than half.
Yeah.
Good episode. I'm excited to see where we're going in the next 2. Very sad that we're only going to get 1 more, and then they didn't even tell us when. They just say later in the year.
Yeah.
Like, holy crap! How long is it going to be? Assuming
society doesn't collapse, you will get another episode of The Walking Dead.
If the world does not turn into The Walking Dead,
yeah.
Which I'm gonna tell you, man, it's getting. If things don't get back to normal sometime soon, you know, that's not even getting political. This is just fact. If they, you know, if we can't get this virus under control, if people won't just keep their asses at home or just thin out their locations and where they go, man, it's gonna be. It might be the Walking Dead world.
It could get ugly. So I don't know, man.
Yep. We shall see.
Yeah.
But alas, I think we've covered most of it, right? Is there anything I'm forgetting?
I can't think of anything we missed. I'm sure we probably did, but I can't think of it.
Well, I mean, we always do, but I think we've covered some of the high points. Yeah, I mean, it was a good episode. Just going to have to wait and see.
Yep.
In the meantime, don't forget we've got our Patreon exclusive podcast tomorrow and Thursday. On Wednesday, it's Weird Wednesday. So lots of podcasts coming. So consider checking out our Patreon and also consider checking out our channel. See what else we got to offer. If you go to our YouTube channel, maybe if you're listening to this on SoundCloud or Spotify or iTunes or something, go to our YouTube channel where you can catch all of our past. You can catch every podcast we've ever done with the exception of Patreon casts.
Yep.
So... Yep, we will see you tomorrow, patrons, and we'll see non-patrons on Wednesday for Weird Wednesday.
That's right.
I'm Justin.
I'm JP.
And we're the Podcasting Dead.